which leads me to a guy named Mike Elko, who's the first A&M coach to win 6 of his first 7 games since 1918. All right. By all accounts, maybe he was their second choice because of the Mark Stoops backlash. Whatever the case might be, A&M's got one loss, Paul. Opener to Notre Dame, haven't lost since.
No, by the way, he was the second choice to Mark Stoops. I can now confirm that here on the Matt Barrie podcast. Um, but it doesn't matter because he's done such a great job. And that game yesterday, nobody was really paying attention to Mississippi State, but they're just kind of an annoying team that gets in your way, and nobody has had an easy time with them. They still lose every game, but nobody. But that's something you have to overcome, and I really was impressed. But this game now suddenly, I didn't anticipate LSU Texas A&M being possibly the defining game of next Saturday. But the slate is not exactly overwhelming. So yeah, it's a moment in time for A&M, and having been out there about a month ago, Matt, they're pretty well situated. It's really amazing to be out there recently versus a year ago with the Jimbo Fisher clown show going on.
Where are you with Brian Kelly and LSU now?
I'm pretty high on them. I deal with Brian Kelly every week on our
Yeah.
show. He's a regular guest, which I do right after I talk to you. And he has had to navigate a lot, and I like that about this program. I mean, I'll state the obvious, but they should have about 3 losses right now. And they dropped the USC game, which they probably should have won. They won the South Carolina game, which they probably should have lost. And I still haven't figured out how they won the Ole Miss game.
Right.
But the fact that they did, I think they're getting confidence. And last night, I thought was a incredible trap game. I was with a couple of folks on our show Saturday that thought Arkansas would win. So that was this stretch here has been always been dicey, but I like the momentum. Nussmeier is playing really well. They've lost a couple of key players, but what's interesting is when they lost Harold Perkins, the All-American linebacker, a lot of people said, "Oh my goodness!" But in some ways, that defense has played freer without him being there.
Right. And look, I said this about Miami earlier this morning that sometimes all a team needs is to learn how to win. And it could be as simple as that. And you just brought up 2 examples that one went against them, one went for them. South Carolina at South Carolina, you're right. There was a couple of pick sixes called back and some turns that went their way, but they won. And then the Ole Miss game, it seemed like it was Ole Miss for pretty much 3.5, three-quarter quarters. And Garrett Nussmeier comes up big 4th and 5. They find a way to win that game. And so sometimes if you're in a season where you don't look dominant and you find a way to win, that's all you need. And LSU's doing that, Paul.
Yeah, and I think some of it comes under the fact that I still believe Brian Kelly is one of the elite coaches in the country. A lot of
Yep.
people push back on that. That's fine. Um, I was, thinking that Kalen DeBoer was one of the elite coaches in the country 3 weeks ago. So I mean, these things are cyclical, but I like what I see there. I haven't really thought about this game very much yet, but if LSU does win the game, though. Um, they're within striking distance of the playoffs, and really the winner of this game is incredible shape. And I can't give you the FBI tracker. I'm sure somebody could.